Well, good morning or afternoon, I guess maybe evening, depending where you are in the world tuning in. In just a minute, we'll go to our first presentation of day 2 here for the Coaches Site Virtual Hockey Summit powered by Team Snap, featuring a pair of NCAA head coaches. Before that, I just want to reflect on what an amazing job our presenters did in day 1 of the summit. So many topics were covered, and the feedback we've been getting on social media has been superb. It's pretty cool. If you're enjoying the summit, be sure to share your experience on social media using the hashtag Virtual Hockey Summit. That's hashtag Virtual Hockey Summit. Make sure you're featured on our social wall. If you use that, that'll happen. Other delegates will see you, a chance to connect with some other great coaches from around the planet. Also, if you haven't yet, go tour our partner booths and be sure to enter one of several very awesome prizes that are up for grabs. A refresher on the prizes from the NHL Coaches Association, a virtual roundtable with an NHL coach, an alumni NHL coach. You and your team will have the opportunity to discuss life, coaching strategies, NHL stories, and maybe just how you can help your players prepare or get ready for the next level, try to achieve that ultimate success for your team. It's all going to be there with your chance to chat with a former NHL coach if you win that package. From Power Player, a 1-year subscription to Power Player, that's up to 36 players, 2 teams worth, and a value of over 2,000 American dollars. From Sense Arena, the Sense Arena Goalie to Go solution, a portable training platform for goalies. That's a 12-month license valued at over $1,900. Instat is giving anyone who comes by the booth a free 1-year month of access to the Instat hockey platform. Elite Prospects has an offer for everyone that's at the virtual summit, a free EP premium membership. The coupon code is TCS, and that's valued at $100 American. Skillshark, 2 packages for athlete evaluation software. You can choose any plan they offer and evaluate up to 200 athletes for free with their package giveaway. Upload, score, evaluate athletes in just minutes from virtually anywhere. That's a value of $2,000. The Coaches Site is giving away 20 annual memberships for you or your association. The value there, up to $1,000. FlipGive has got some signed Seattle Kraken gear. This is the hottest stuff out there right now. People like that logo. Cammy Granado has signed it too, the Hall of Famer and the Pro Scout for the Kraken, plus a FlipGive team credit to the winners team as well. If you'd like to join a group discussion around the presentations you're hearing, head over to the networking section where you'll find a forum of like-minded coaches to chat with. And if you want to give an update to the whole group, you can simply post a status or a picture on the activity feed. Be sure to show off your home setup and where you're taking in this virtual hockey summit from. Anytime we have important announcements, you'll receive a notification on your desktop, computer, or mobile device. That, if you've downloaded the Event Mobi app, to see past notifications, click on Announcements. And if you've got any questions or need any help, check out our FAQs and help section. You can also message our support at members@thecoachessite.com if you have any technical issues or need some support to get your virtual summit up and running. That's it for housekeeping right now. Now it's on to the show for day 2. Coming up next, one of our favorite presenters of all time, Todd Woodcroft, is entering his first season as the head coach of the University of Vermont Catamounts after 4 years on Paul Maurice's staff with the Winnipeg Jets. This marks Todd's 4th time presenting for the Coaches Site, and he's twice been voted the top presenter at our annual, survey at the end of the Team Snap Hockey Coaches Conference. However, today's a first. He'll be presenting alongside Cassandra Turner. She's the head coach of the Quinnipiac University Hockey Club as they focus on finding the details when pre-scouting your opponent. It's sure to be a good one, so without further ado, let's welcome Todd and Cassandra to the Virtual Hockey Summit.
Hello, everybody. My name is Todd Woodcroft. I'm the head coach at the University of Vermont men's ice hockey team.
Hi, I'm Cassie Turner. I'm the head coach at Quinnipiac University.
We were invited to come onto the panel this month to talk to all the coaches out there about something that Cass and I feel very passionately about, and that's about pre-scouting. So Cass and I have been friends and colleagues for a long time, and we decided to do a project together that would be a collaborative pre-scout, to share some pre-scout techniques to everybody out there, to see what Cass is doing, what I'm doing as well. And Cass is going to walk you through how the process is going to be right now.
Yeah, so we decided that we were on the same staff and we're playing in a tournament. And how we did it is, we have the first team being Finland that we're scouting, and Todd's going to really look at them, and I'm going to be scouting Switzerland. You'll find us working together as we move through the scout, and we really want you to get a sense for how we select clips, what that looks like, to give you a feeling for how we would present to our team. And then from there, even some other pieces as you're scouting, the opportunity to find foundation clips or teaching clips that you could use for your team. And those clips being ones that will really help you to continue to drive to get better.
So what we chose for this project, Cass and I, we went to the World Championships 2019. We chose Finland and Switzerland, like Cass said. For my part of the presentation, we're going to assume that we are playing Finland next. So Cass and I are coaching a team, and Finland is our next opponent. We're going to break them down. And you're going to see that the video quality of this is not an NHL broadcast, but this is done on purpose from Cass and I, because we wanted this to be as realistic for as many people watching this presentation as possible. A lot of times the video that you have is not going to be from an HD camera. So it might be from an iPhone, or it might be from an iPad or something. And the quality of this might not be great, but it's the idea of what we're pulling out of here. And when we do a pre-scout, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find proof of the team that we're playing against, how they play. Most good teams are structured, very predictable. So when we do a pre-scout, we usually look at maybe 3 or 4 games of the opponent, try to find the essence of their team, find out what they're good at, figure out ways that we can counter that. We're looking for things to exploit on them. Essentially, we're looking for the DNA, almost the soul of the team that we're playing, and then make a game plan for that. So my pre-scout process when I'm doing this is I like to look at 3 or 4 games of the opponent that we are going to play, pull out clips, and then show them to the team. For this project today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at 5-on-5. And the reason we did that is because when you have meetings with your team, you want to be as brief as possible, especially if you're doing a separate meeting for your power play or your penalty kill. You don't want to have 16 minutes of clips that should be boiled down to 2 or 3 minutes. And then for this today, we're not going to put any PPPK in there, and we're just going to look at some 5-on-5. Cass, what about yourself? What do you guys do for pre-scouting?
Yeah, it's similar. I think for us, we play 2 different teams each weekend. So how we prepare for a Friday game is a bit different, because our pre-scout is earlier in the week. But I think that we have to be really disciplined still. Even though our pre-scout is earlier in the week and we feel like they have more time to digest, it still needs to be short, and that meeting still being 5 to 7 minutes, and really dialing in on the things that you think are going to make a difference to win that game. And then Saturday is very short. We are looking at 5-on-5. So honestly, maybe 3 or 4 clips tops. And then, face-offs and special teams will be in addition to that. But it's so short because that's really what's going to help your athletes to be successful.
And Cass and I were talking about the process of this and what we do to make our teams win games. And most of the time, players have no idea how much work goes into a 3 or 4 minute meeting. So this might be a 6-hour project if you're doing one team and you're boiling it down to just, like Cass said, 90 seconds or 3 minutes or whatever it might be, and hopefully finding parts of the opponent that you're playing and then ultimately how you're going to beat them. So today I'm going to start this off with Finland. So we're assuming that Finland is our next opponent. Don't worry about Switzerland too much in these clips, but the first thing we would talk about here with Finland is what are they good at? Like, what makes Finland special? And anybody who's ever watched Finnish hockey knows that this is a country that prides themselves on being relentless. They actually have a word for it inside their culture called sisu, which is about enduring and just going and going and going. And that drives even the way they play hockey. So when we look at this first clip, this isn't really part of their systems, but we want our team to be on their toes right off the bat. Cass and I were saying, what do we need our team to know about Finland? The first thing we want to talk about is how relentless they are, how they don't give up on pucks, how they're at first touch situations all the time. They are relentless. They are dogged. We want our players to be watching this clip and understanding that they don't have time and space with the puck, that the Finns are going to stay on this, and we have to make quick decisions if we ultimately want to have success in this game. So when we're looking at these clips, we're going to work from the opponent's end out. So this would be Finland. This is a Finnish D-zone face-off win. And when we look at a Finnish D-zone face-off win, we want to see what their ideal plan would be. So in this circumstance, we're going to see them coming out the weak side. And we would want to talk about what we would do to thwart this plan, to stop them and to make them uncomfortable.
Yeah, you look at that and you see left-handed D, and that's a theme throughout this team. I think they only have one, maybe two right-handed D. So we'd want to be sure that as we challenge on this face-off, we do everything that we can to keep them on the other side of the ice so they can go up their backhand side. But even with that, Switzerland does a really good job here being able to challenge on the wall and come back through the middle of the ice.
Yeah, we and just like Cass was saying, we looked at this clip because they had so many of these D-zone face-off wins from their D-zone right side, and they didn't come back up their strong side. So our plan, when we said we're going to attack these guys, is we would actually want to push them towards their strong side. So ideally, get on the inside of this defenseman trying to get around back behind the net and try to push her back up into the strong side if we could. So how do they break the puck out? So this is a line change situation. We're going to talk a little bit more about that soon. But this is a team that has a lot of skill. This team has a lot of skill, and they're able to make these high plays. They're able to make these high plays, and we want to have a plan to make sure that they can't do that. So we would be a team saying, if we're going to play Finland, we want to get right up in their face. We do not want to give them all this ice to have, because if they do have all this ice, they're going to make plays like this. And as you're going to see further on inside this presentation, they're very capable of capitalizing on this. So when we're talking about their actual breakout situations, those controlled breakouts, they don't happen very often. Most of the breakouts happen just inside the game as the game is going. So we're going to talk about their plan here, that they like to have their D up in the rush. Now, they have a very special player in Finland, and Jenny Hirakoski. And what you're going to see here is Jenny's going to be getting up in this rush, and we're going to figure out a way that we don't want to allow them to do this.
Yeah, and as they go, I mean, the discipline that we're going to need from our forward right there, the one that's over near the corner, to come back hard through the middle, knowing that their D jump into the play. We need that support, or they're going to be off to the races.
And just like Cass said, like you can see it right now. Now that the team in red here happens to be Switzerland, but the team in red right here, they're caught behind this play. So when you get special players like Jenny, like they're going to make these plays all night long. We cannot get caught behind the goal line. This just one pass is just beating all these Swiss forecheckers, and these guys are going to get right up in the ice. Now you're going to see them into their rush situation. They got 4 up on the rush. That's going to be a theme for their game all night long. So we know that good teams, we talked about this at the very beginning of the presentation today, good teams are rehearsed. Good teams are structured and predictable. And we see that inside the Finnish system when they're trying to break pucks out. They have 5 players back, 5 players inside the picture here. And on this one, there's not a slash breakout, as you can see. So we've left the words on purpose in the bottom here so we can follow along. And this is a team that will support the puck. Now, Cass had mentioned a little bit there, and we talked about keeping clips that we would want to have to show our own team, or maybe if you're the coach of Finland in this situation, or just trying to teach your players something and you don't want to show them doing something that you would rather they do. In this situation, Cass and I were looking at this and we're saying this centerman or the low forward back would ultimately want to be below this puck. And we want this centerman to be below this puck because we could push their team back. And also when you're making plays, those lateral plays like that to somebody who's in the same plane as you, most often they will end up going to the other side of the rink. So again, we're showing our team how Finland plays. We understand that they're structured in their breakouts. We understand this. And now we have to figure out a plan to not allow them to have these rehearsed exits.
And right there, you see that F1 coming back so hard through the middle, like we talked about. That's going to be so important for us. And we're going to be able to limit their speed when we come through the middle like that.
Fantastic. They're in their entry and they're up in the rush. We talked about Jenny Hirakoski and what a star she is. We got to be aware of when she is on the ice, especially. And I know Cass is going to talk about that in a few minutes, but Finland is such a great counter team. They're so good. They have such good sticks. Again, they stay in this battle. They do not give up. This looks like a clear entry for the opponent here, Switzerland. You're going to see them. And then just that right there.
Yeah, and those are the pucks, right? Those are the ones that can change games. Like to have that awareness and know that they are going to come hard at us, and we need to be sure that we get that in behind them, and now we're in a position where we can change and we're comfortable. I mean, you saw it in the Dallas Vegas series, and that can be the difference about whether you're playing in the Stanley Cup final or not. You know, you need to value those moments and those disciplined plays that are going to put pucks in good spaces.
I remember that. I think that was in the first game. It was a 1-0 game, and the forward just was in a very similar situation. The forward for Vegas just wasn't able to get this puck deep. It was kind of an ugly puck coming up the ice, and was not able to get behind their D. Dallas was able to counter. They got up in the rush. D were inside the blue line. There was a shot off a shin pad. John Klingberg buries it. They win 1-0. Now they're playing in the Stanley Cup final. So those are the decisions that we would have to make if we're playing Finland. This is non-negotiable. These pucks have to get behind their D. If we're anywhere near this blue line and we're being contested, it has to get in. And the same thing at our blue line coming out. If they're pressing hard on us, their D, that puck has to get out. If not, these are the kind of things that can happen. Finland's in a counter situation and they're up the ice. So we're talking about keeping these foundation things for our team, and we're trying to build the DNA of the team that we want to be too. And you can learn things from other teams. You're seeing a great example here. It's 2-0 for Finland, 17 seconds left in this period, and they're not going to shut down. They want to keep going. They want to keep going. So this D right now, fantastic habits. She's looking over her shoulder, reading the pressure of who's coming at her. And there's 10 seconds left in this period, and she gets off the ice hard. This is how we want to play. And the Finnish D that has the puck right now, she's not thinking about, just letting the 7 seconds go down. She wants to get in an attack mode. They want to get up the ice. They're not full. This is how they play, and we want our team to understand that we're going to get their best. Up to nothing, their feet are on the gas pedal, and they want to keep coming at us. So when we do talk about those counter situations, we know that a big part of that identity is they will be hard gapped on you. And the other thing for them is even with any kind of pressure, these pucks are going to get from their D up into their forwards' hands all night long. All night long. Same thing, great shoulder check here. There's no time wasted. This puck goes right from the D, right to the forward. And this is going to be an important thing right now.
Yeah, that's a line change that we're going to need to be sure. I mean, we know how fast Finland plays in transition, and to be a minute and 21 seconds left in that period, in the first period, it would be huge to be able to go into the second period, at 1-0, and will be important too. When you're in the second period, that change is tough. So being disciplined and knowing where we are and making sure that we're making good changes, it's just incredibly important in the game.
That's a hard thing going into the period, like Cass is saying there. That's a line change detail, and that's something that we would want to build into our team. Cass and I were saying about the identity of who we want to be. So now we're going to look at the entries of Finland and how they like to have that curl up. And this is this skill in their game, that little stick lift right there. We don't have time to mess around with these pucks. They're stick strong. They're stick strong, and they're skilled, and they're able to make these plays. Kind of like Tampa, if you see them in the finals right now, just these little curl ups, just finding that late trailer and just pucks to the net.
And you see it right there with Switzerland. Like, they are going to protect the middle of the ice, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. And just how good of a job they do in their D zone of protecting, but it also means at times they over back check, and that's going to be an important piece when we do play Switzerland, is to find that the other side of the ice when they over back check and be able to attack and move that puck east-west.
Okay, again, and this is just showing them that these are not one-off situations now. And now Switzerland, they're good players. They're well coached too, so they're going to make adjustments. So good teams will make adjustments in between periods. They would see that Finland is going to be a curl-up team. They're going to understand that, and they're going to adjust to it too. And they do a fantastic job right here. So there's that curl-up. Here's the low to high that's an automatic. They're looking to create some width and some length in their O-zone play. And then you just see just a great move across the D right there too.
Yeah, and that's a great foundation clip too, like that, for that defenseman at the point to get her hips around the puck and know that she has pressure, and just know that she just got to get to the net at that point. That's a high level skill and an important one in a situation like that.
We know that if we're the team playing Finland here, like, if that forward doesn't get her stick on that puck right now, that's at the net. But even if you're Finland thinking, geez, like, I got a forward blasting out at me, I have to get this thing past this layer here, because if this Swiss forward is able to just touch that puck even 5-6 inches, she's gone on a breakaway the other end. So I agree, Cass. That's a fantastic foundation clip for our D. So this is just a clip that Cass and I had found here, and she picked up something great. She mentioned it right off the bat.
Yeah, you watch right here as the puck comes up to 6 Hirakoski, to be able to pressure a great player like that who is a lefty. And you'll see in a sec here, the Finnish player gets her stick just a little bit in the middle of the ice and forces her back down towards the wall, towards the corner, which, even with great players, when they don't have time and space, they can't make plays. And that's going to be really important playing as left-handed defensemen.
So we were saying, how would we use that with our team here in a pre-scout? So that would be something that maybe we would write on the board. We're going to show a quick clip of it, but we might circle their D and say, okay, of their 6D, 5 of them are left-handed. So when it's their right D is a left-handed player, our left wingers understand, just like the Swiss player here that Cass mentioned, just pressured her from the inside, pressured her down. They squeeze this puck off and they're gone. So we want our left wingers to understand that they have 5D who are lefties. We can pressure them all over the ice. So this is a fantastic skill. There's so many things in this clip. This is obviously their offensive zone structure, understanding the players that they have for sure. But again, coming back to that foundation. So you just see that she just won this battle. She got underneath the Swiss player's stick. Now she has full control. And then this is fantastic. Like, we would keep this for our players all day long. There's the cutback. She recognizes that the Swiss player her shape has changed and she's reaching for it. Now she cuts back and she's going to attack inside the dots right here.
Yeah, and right here in the moment, watch the stick of this Swiss D. And we watched this a couple times and we talked about it. We're like, wow, what a great play. Like, she attacks towards her. And as soon as that Swiss D moves her stick, she finds her lane to the net right here. It's a high level skill play. And with traffic, those are the ones that can go in the net on second shots.
Fantastic foundation clip there. We know that. And we know that part of their ozone structure is they're just going to use this whole ice. They have the players that can rag the puck up and down the wall and make these plays. So for us, talking about defensive zone coverage, we would say we want to pressure these players. We want to pressure these players all over the ice. Now you do have the one right-handed D. She does a great job, puts this puck back down, but the Finns win this battle to the puck. So we would be talking about cutting off the back of this net here. We know that they're going to use the whole zone. We know that they're going to use the walls. We would want to be right in their face all night long, not giving them this time with the pucks, not allowing them to keep the pucks alive in the O-zone. So now we're going to look at some of their O-zone face-off plays. And Cass and I, we've had the luxury of seeing these clips 15 times as we work together on this project. And we're trying to remember that if you're the player inside the locker room watching this, you're watching it for the first time. So Cass and I can tell you what's going to happen all over the ice right now. But if you're assuming that you're a player in the locker room, we want to walk you through it. So what we would say first is that this is an O-zone face-off play that they're going to use. And we saw this play multiple times. So this would be something that maybe we could write on a piece of paper and put on the board and have our players come and talk about it. And then we're also going to give them some ideas on solutions. So Cass and I had different debates, like all coaches and colleagues do, about how we would solve these problems. But the one thing we do know is that we would want to have communication. So we understand that Hirakoski here, she's a lefty and she's in that overload position. So if you're an NHL fan, you think of like a Patrick Laine or Steven Stamkos or Ovechkin, those guys who would line up here and just bomb this puck to the net. It's number 6 here, Hirakoski, she can't do that because she's a lefty. We want our players going out to their D to understand where they are and just communicate. This is a high-level pass from Hirakoski right here. She just touches it back, and this is what we're talking about. Like, who has who? If that's a D, who's taking who? Because this right winger right now in Switzerland is really marking nobody, and we would want to solve that problem ahead of time. So we would know that coming into the game, how big that communication is. So now the Swiss team does a fantastic job right here. Everybody's got their person. Center is on center, and Finns ultimately have nothing but a shot to the net. Now we want to talk a little bit about the Finnish forecheck. And again, going back to their team, we're not trying to put fear into our own team about how good Finland is. We're trying to bring awareness of what they can do, what they're capable of, so our players understand ahead of time when they see these clips how hard Finland's coming. And just like all parts of their game, they're relentless. So this part of their forecheck, they're into a 1-2-2, and they're great. They just got such great sticks. They don't give up. They're able to turn pucks over and just keep pucks alive. So we know, again, we don't have that time. We don't have that time. So in this instance, we're going to have Switzerland, who's in a breakout situation. They're back for these pucks, and they're able to change sides. So we would understand that as well, that we would want to use all of the white ice that we can, that there are reverses available on those 1-2-2 teams, and we want to use it, and we want to take the ice that's in front of us. And again, I'm almost done in this part of the presentation about Finland and just showing something for our foundation here, the habits of a good team. Now, this also shows their neutral zone forecheck, which if anybody is a fan of international hockey would know that Finnish hockey, they play like a 2-3 heavy forecheck in the neutral zone, and they force a lot of dump pucks. And we would just want our players to understand that, but also, again, maybe to keep this clip for our own team to see how you have to stay on puck. So here's their two-man forecheck right now, becomes into a 2-3. They force that dump puck. Maybe we would talk about a seam being available right there. We would talk about all our wingers and forwards coming back to support that. So there's a middle option as well, trying to bring their middle D up into it. And now we're just going to see how good they are, how structured again they are. This is their forward that's back on this puck. So this is Finland in a breakout situation. She advances this puck. Now she's up into the ice. What a skilled play. What a skilled shot. It's not in. She thought it was in. So did we. This puck gets transitioned. It comes back. And now again, you see the Finnish style of play, how they don't give up. 3-0 right now. This is why they're such a well-coached team. They are hard back for pucks. They don't give up. There's a puck to the net. And now Finland's going to be back on the attack. Like, that's a fantastic thing. So again, just a few things about them. We would close this out about what to expect and just saying, hey, this is who they are again. This is different than the first clip that we showed. This is a clip that is going to reinforce the main plan we would have against Finland, saying that the pucks cannot get hung up on the half walls here. They get to this half wall, we have to make a play. There's a whole lake of ice in the middle of this ice. We have to support pucks, because if not, these are the kind of things that are going to happen. We can't be over top of pucks. We can't cheat this game. So that's our presentation on Finland. Now that we're done with that, Cass is going to bring us into Switzerland.
Okay, thanks, Todd. So we're going to look at Switzerland. They're in red through all of these clips, and I wanted to start first, just like Todd. We're going to go through the same order. We're going to look at D-zone face-off exits, and this first clip I think is really important. I know for me, when I first started doing pre-scouts, you know, I would, and I at times now I have to catch myself getting sort of mesmerized when you see a team make a play, and you have to decide, you know, is it a trend? Is it something that happens often, or is it something that just happened that time and they made a good hockey play? So when you watch this right now, you know, it's a tie up. The puck is kind of free, but then look at how they move the puck out wide, and then they get going north pretty quick. And so it's important to know that, you know, that isn't their plan all the time. It's something that happened, but it's not something that we would need to bring to our team. This is a lot more typical of what they look to do when they're in their D-zone faceoff. They want to win that puck back to the corner and change sides of the ice, whether it goes through their D or ends up all the way over to their wing right away. And then they want to slash through the middle. So if we watch Finland, these are things we're going to want. When we pressure this left-handed defenseman, we're going to want to try to get her on her backhand side. And then right here, this is so important. This D is going to really be aware and scanning and understand and see that her center is doing a tremendous job coming over the top of her center, so that when she swings in here and works to get a stick on the puck, she has support. And that's going to win us pucks. It's going to get us in positions that we can play fast in transition. We're going to look at their breakout now. Consistently, Switzerland wants to find the middle. They want to change sides of the ice when they can. So if you watch on this clip, they find the middle right here. She's in a great space. That's a nice skilled play underneath her stick. It's going to be really important for us that we reload hard through the middle, that we don't waste time down here. We understand that they want to find the middle of the ice and we're coming back quickly, and that our D in the middle of the ice is scanning, seeing the zone, knowing our numbers, and setting gaps that make sense for that situation. If we play that way, we're going to find times like this where we can outnumber and we can win pucks, and you can see a few people going for line changes. We might be able to attack and be able to get a good transition play there. Here's another breakout. They want to go D to D and then up through the middle. So we're continuing to talk about these defensemen and what we need to be sure of. And we need to understand that we really know the numbers and we see what's happening in each situation. They want to slash in behind. And so right here, you know, they missed that play, but had they received that, that could have been potentially a 2-on-1. So we want to be real sure that the D understand the numbers in the situation.
I think there too, Cass, even if you go back to your point of, you know, when Hirakoski was pressured up at the offensive blue line there, that was a right-handed D. And just like you said on the exit clip there for them, if they're on their back end, the chances of making that play are not high when you're on your back end. So we would ask our forwards in that situation playing against the Swiss D, if you see a player that's on her back end, we want to attack that. We don't want to allow her to have that time to make the plays under her forehand, because that just increases their chance for success.
Absolutely. So here we talked about them using the ice. You know, they're going to go D to D. And so we're going to need to be disciplined on our forecheck. We've talked about that F1 reloading through the middle to protect the middle of the ice. That's going to be crucial. But we want to be in good positions where we're above the puck. They do a really good job right here in that position. We're going to want to be disciplined so we don't end up with three people on the same side of the ice, and that our D, again, understand the situation, understand numbers. So we're going to look now at their counter. They want to play fast on their counter in transition. They do a good job of getting their winger out wide quickly. And often this puck is going to go D to wing, and they're really going to look to get pucks in behind defensemen right here, okay? So as we play them, we want to be sure that we're prepared, just like Finland, that we are, whether it's our forward probably right here, D side of their player, that we're ready to go with speed. We're getting back to pucks quickly so that they aren't first to those, because that is a plan for them pretty consistently. We talked about this, Todd and I, you know, just really the need to pay attention to certain players and how they play. You're going to watch games and you're going to see that, like you said, the DNA of the team and a well-coached team is going to all play the same way. But at times there are players who do consistent things and have tendencies within how that team plays. And number 11 for Switzerland is one of these players. She consistently is getting in behind defensemen, and her teammates are looking to find her, whether it's a good decision or not a good decision, they want to find her. And so right here, you see it, they get the puck up, and it's going to be really important for us to know that, our D to be aware that she's going to be up in that space.
I think too, like when we started this whole project, we were assuming this was going to be a tournament. So you might be playing against teams that you don't really know all the players. So you need to identify who their dangerous threats are for your team, whether it's circling a player on their lineup when you post it on your board, or just talking and making sure your team understands who their top players are. You want your D and even your D coach to know who the threats are from the opponent. In the NHL, there's not a lot of secrets. Anybody watching the Chicago Blackhawks is going to know that when, you know, Duncan Keith has the puck in full control in the D zone, Patrick Kane is going to be like at the far blue line looking to go. Your players are going to know that. If it's Phil Kessel, you know that as soon as they have possession, he's gone. And that's what makes those players special. And when their D can get those pucks to those players, now you're in a situation you don't want to be in. So we would talk about it very quickly, just remind your players about it. But in a short tournament, for sure, you want your players to know who their most dangerous threats are.
Yep. Okay, so Switzerland's entry here, they have great net drive. They're going to drive the net hard, and so for us, we want to get organized early, and our D right here in the middle of the ice is the key to this. They need to be scanning, reading numbers, and directing their back checker. So in this situation, we want to keep our D establishing who the net drive is going to be and staying with that player ready to lift sticks on the way to the net. And then the next back checker in ready to take that cross ice pass. What I think Finland has an opportunity for, and this is something that we'd want to take advantage of, is we have another player right here. And so if you're in that situation where you can outnumber, we want to create opportunities to double on the puck right here. So if she does curl up or any play is there, we now have possession of that and we can win that puck really quickly. So looking on their entry as well, and this one's coming from a counter, but we know they like to get pucks in behind D. So how we play from here and how quick we are getting back to pucks. When we see that we get great pressure on the wall, our middle D needs to be aware that they're going to chip a lot of pucks in. They're not going to make a lot of passes around the blue line. So as much as we can cheat back so that we get to this puck quickly, we're going with full speed. And so this hard forecheck isn't as difficult for us to manage. And, we talk about the Finland DNA, and I think when we talk about Switzerland's DNA, and you really want to look at what has brought them so much success, that the next two clips are probably the most important part to our game plan. If you rewind to the 2014 Sochi Olympics and you look at Switzerland in the bronze medal game, which they had never played in their country's history, they showed something really special, and it is something that they've continued to show in other world championships, and they really have this grit and toughness, and it comes from that forecheck transition. When they win pucks on the forecheck, they get to the goal quick, and that's exactly what happened in that bronze medal game. They were down 2-0 going into the third period. They scored 4 goals in that third period, and 2 of those were quick transitions from the forecheck. So this would be something that we would really want to zero in on and be sure that we had a plan and we were disciplined to defend it. So if you watch right here, 14's in, challenging, but look at 7 Stalder right here. She's ready to intercept that play. And from this point, they play so fast, and they're going to attack Ratu, who's one of the best goalies in the world. And so we want to be sure that we are more disciplined. We're in good positions here. Great little fake, and then they're on that second shot and show a lot of grit.
Cass and I were talking about this clip. Like, this is 5-0. This is your team understanding that there's still, a period and a quarter still left to play in this game. Anything can happen. So the cost of not getting pucks in the offensive blue line, which we saw, and the cost of not getting pucks out on your D-zone half wall. What can happen? So a puck doesn't get out on a D-zone half wall. This thing gets turned over. Now it's 5-1. There's a tiny bit of life into this Swiss team.
Yeah, and so that focus is incredibly important, and here it is. It's 5-1 now, and this is the very next face-off, and this is what momentum is all about. 11 on the puck, and she's challenging. They're uncomfortable, and they transition quickly. She has great composure right here to beat Ratu and get that puck in the net. So we need to have that focus and understand that that's a team that they could come at us at any point, and when they score once, they're often going to look to score quick again. So we're going to look now at their neutral zone forecheck, and they're in a 1-2-2, which for us is really going to provide some opportunities. We want to take ice when we have that chance. Right here, she had some space to get her feet moving. When we have that, there's a lot of options from here. If we move our feet, we can look to hinge back into this space, and we have a lot of white ice now to be able to attack. But if we do make this play, we want to be sure that now pucks, because they're going to in that 1-2-2 challenge right here in this space of the ice, that we're getting pucks in behind defenders and that we're in good positions with speed to be able to get on those pucks. We don't want to lose those pucks on the blue line. And especially in that situation when they were looking for a change, and that's an important moment when you're tired to get pucks in behind D. Todd had talked a little bit about this too. They really, on a change, are really going to look to protect the middle of the ice and really be smart and challenging on the blue line. So for us, as we attack, we want to attack together as a group. We want to have some speed, and we want to be sure that as we run out of space, that we have great speed in the middle of the ice to be able to recover pucks, and that we're providing ourselves a little bit of space here. If we get a puck like this in behind, we're in a good position. We have 4 players on the same side of the ice right now, and we can now possess and look to make plays on offense from there. So again, this is an incredible strength, and Todd and I were talking about the D zone of Switzerland. It's a D zone that can frustrate you. And, if you're a team going in and expecting you're going to get a lot of scoring opportunities, this is a group that could really make you uncomfortable with how they play. They're tough in protecting the middle of the ice. And when they do get their opportunities to pressure in the corner, they make contact, and that can be frustrating. So we're going to talk about some ways that we can create in a D zone like this. So you see that contact right there, good second quick, and now they're ready to transition and go the other way. You see it again here, the puck goes low, you get the contact, and then you got the second support. And this is something we had talked about. You know, we didn't see this defender. And then again, as you're scouting, you want to look for things that happen often, not just once. And pretty consistently, this D was staying at the net front. So if we're in a battle, we would give the go ahead and understand that we can outnumber. You know, we could get our other forward right here so that we can call for a little net puck, or we can call for a puck towards the wall so that we can continue to possess out of a battle from this situation. So as we think about how they defend, they're going to do a great job blocking shots and blocking shooting lanes. So we want to be able to spread the zone out as much as we can, as often as we can, to get them uncomfortable so they're not protecting the middle of the ice as much. So from here, our middle D needs to set themselves up early for great plays. They need to decide, what do I have as a shooting lane? And we want to be able to get great options from our high player for high tips and deflections, or just puck recovery. As you see right here, the Swiss player, they may not be first level shot block, but second level shot block, and there's a loose one. That's a play that, just like that, we want to be on them right away and ready to challenge. There's a lot that we can create when a team is low like that. And again, another clip of just looking to use the ice. So second period is an important period in terms of how you're going to play offense and how you want to tire teams out. So in this clip, you know, the Swiss team, they're tired, you know, but they're still doing a great job of kind of clogging up the middle. So their sticks are on the ice, and they're not letting passes happen into that part of the ice. We want to be sure that when we play them, we're using the ice, we're getting the puck up high, and we don't get antsy, that we're disciplined and we're in positions where we can create opportunities with screens, second shots, and really getting first to puck so we can stay on offense. That's great. So perfect. I think for Todd and I, this was a lot of fun, and you know, we couldn't be more excited that we had the opportunity to work together. We've had several conversations, and I learned a lot from really working with him. And you know, our hope is that from this presentation, you all picked up a few things. You know, you thought differently about how to create and find those clips, and just maybe even a reminder around what's important when you're selecting clips. I know Todd has been doing this for a long time, and when you think about what makes somebody so great at this is practice. You know, just like anything else, the more that you do this, the quicker you're going to be to recognize things. And I think that's an incredibly important concept as you guys are all looking to refine your scouting skills. So we're super thankful. Really want to thank Aaron Wilbur and the coaches site for providing us with this opportunity.
Thank you very much to everybody, Aaron and everybody at the coaches site, and myself, to Cass. I learned so much from you in this process, and I know that I'll be hopefully using some of the things I did learn this year when we finally get back to playing. But thanks for everybody for watching. We hope everybody stays healthy and safe and gets back to playing hockey real soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.